Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And I want to welcome our esteemed guest, NBA draft guru, Stephen Fox. Welcome, buddy.
Thank you. Hope all is well with you. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to the Nick fandom. Can't wait to talk basketball with you. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Today was a day off, which is nice to have. Let me see. Somehow something's messed up here. Just give me 1 second.
Take you a second. Hope everyone's well. If you hear us, playing the Detroit Pistons tonight, a game that we'll be talking about.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to preview the Pistons game. And we're going to talk about the future of the Knicks, whether the Knicks are under the correct management, whether under the correct coaching, and whether their decisions have been good, bad, mixed, and where those decisions are most likely going to lead this franchise. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is Foxy, your feelings on the most recent game, the New York Knicks versus the city rivals, Brooklyn Nets, without Kyrie Irving.
Hey, we're only 11 games in. We have 71 to go, so you can't get crazy. You have bad games. I have no problem with bad games from shooting. I have problems with bad games from energy, and the way they played. So, sometimes, when we played Boston a week ago, you can't stop those nights where teams are just crazy. The night after the game after Randall got crazy. It's the yin yang. But it was just troubling, some of the lack of ball movement, so many of the things that happened to court that I saw, that it's like, man, this bothers me. I wanted them to be up, and KD is, a scary guy, but it wasn't, it bothered me, the loss, a whole lot.
Yeah, sorry, my father was trying to FaceTime me right there when you were closing up at the end. I was like,
hi, Dad.
It's true. I mean, you can't overreact. It's only that was only game 11. We have game 12 tonight against the Detroit Pistons, who are right now, they're pretty much the worst team in basketball right now, it seems like. Even though they have some interesting talent on that roster, but right now they're just not well constructed. And they necessarily shouldn't be. I mean, they have not been good the past couple of seasons, but they've been accumulating some interesting talent on that team. But you're right. We can't overreact to certain losses. However, what is your feeling about this whole idea about the team is before the Wednesday game against the Nets, the Knicks were pretty much exactly right smack dab in the middle of everything. They had won as many games versus sub 500 teams as they had lost versus plus 500 teams. They had basically the same winning record as they had for the past, I don't know, like 3 seasons. The entire regime of Thibs and Leon, they're a complete total 500 team. They had scored just as many points as they had given up for the entire time. It was just kind of a phenomenal stat that was just going around about their and the word that's been thrown out is mediocrity. In my last recap, I addressed that issue from my point of view about it. But I'm curious to hear your feelings about that in terms of, again, just to recap it. My feelings were in the NBA, being mediocre for this franchise, in my opinion, is not a bad thing. Mostly because of the age of the roster. Because we're on the younger side. In the years in the past, we were, if we were a 500 team, we would have been happy, but it would have been with an older squad. The key people would have been, 32, 33 or on their downside. But here we're talking about a roster that is predominantly 26 and under. And predominantly, actually, to be frank, it's actually 24 and under predominantly. And then even like Brunson's 26, even Randall's not that that old. The only two older guys on this roster are Fournier and Rose. So being mediocre, that means we're in the middle. It means we're trending up. We have been the most losing franchise in the past 22 seasons or 21 seasons, the entire NBA. So I'm happy with the middle. But why does it feel so frustrating? That's the thing. But then again, I want to hear your feeling about it all. You may have a totally different take. You may disagree with that, and that's fine. I totally want to hear all that. And salute, shout out to Lex, Destroyer, Juan Ayala. Good to see you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks everybody for joining us. Got through this together. Get a nice pregame show going into tonight's game. Hopefully the Knicks will take care of this game tonight and take care of Sunday. Get back on track before they head out for a pretty intense 5-game road trip. All right.
Foxy. You know, you retweeted a tweet from Nick Muse that I think captured, that was brilliant, that captured, I think, an answer to your question, why do we feel this way? We've been mediocre for a long time. That was an unbelievable tweet you sent out where it was like you couldn't design it like that, being like 500 over this amount of time, over that amount of time. It was unbelievable. And I think it was really the essence, I think, what everyone feels, that it's been going on such a long time, that it's a malaise that is set in, that, and I happen to disagree on the take that I think that where we are, I wouldn't have a problem if we had elite young talent that we have to develop. But I think this talent, just assessing their floors and their ceilings, that their ceiling, I think, are really good role players. So the other elements of the team, what we've seen on defense, the lack of speed on the perimeter, and all the things like that, that because we're mediocre for so long, we're drafting at a mediocre level.
Now, when you say mediocre, do you mean just bad?
No, 50-50 is mediocre, so, and that's, I wish we were bad, because then we would be getting a better draft choice. You and I were screaming that let's be around number 5 or 6 last year, because it'll make a huge difference, whether it was Mathurin, other people. But being 12, 14, 15, 17, that's terrible, man. It's very hard to regroup. You can find some really good players, but very seldom statistically are you going to find, really great players there. You got to get higher. And so I think that that's the thing that irks me, being such a draft maniac, is that the picks that we get, or where we have a pick and then we trade down, it's a head scratcher only because of the level. Usually when you're picking
trade down,
yeah.
No, or not. I mean, just trading out of the draft.
Trading out, exactly. So, but historically, from 12 downward, either you have a guy who's uber athletic who can't shoot, or a guy who can shoot but is not uber athletic. So it's the thing, trying to get somebody that you could develop. But we've talked about needing an infusion of athleticism on this team, and length. We've talked about that 3 position that we wanted. Cam is the prototype, but he's consistently inconsistent. And those are the things that, that we're trying to build. So I just, I'd have no problem if we had a couple of bad seasons to get quality players that'll bring us into the next 10 years. I just don't think that the players that we have on this roster, the young players, that their development over the next few years, I think they're going to definitely get better, but nowhere near fringe all-star level.
Well, one thing I will say is, let me just pull out this thing here, because you say we've been mediocre for a long time. What's a long time for you?
Forever. It feels like I forgot the timeline in that Nick Muse thing, but it was brilliant that because I think it gave us a timeline of saying, Jesus, I didn't realize that we were that middle of the road, and like I said, it pays to be bad, but if we were like 50-50 along the everything we did.
It's crazy. Knicks record the last 20 years, according to StatMuse, is the record for the last 20 years from November 11th, 2002, November 11th, 2002 to today, 20 years. The record is 647 wins, 955 losses for a winning percentage of 40, a 404 winning percentage. That in NBA basketball is pretty bad for that long of a period. But then when you look at the last 10 years, it got worse. Last 10 years, the winning percentage is 396. It actually went down. The last 5 years, the winning record is, trying to pull it up here. But let's put it this way, that we know the last 3 years, the winning record has been 500. So that's we've turned it around from like trending downward. We've turned it up. But I think the reason it feels so frustrating might be because we had that surprise season, with Randall in Thibs' first season. But it ended in such a, it was really such a, it was a painful way to go out in that first round, the gentleman's sweep. So that kind of makes you feel a little bitter about it. But here we go. The record in the last 5 years, this is including the 2 seasons before the three Thibodeau Leon seasons. The record winning percentage has dropped to 375. So it went from 404 to 396 to 375, going down. But we know the last 3 years is 500. So that would indicate that we're on an upward swing. However, it feels frustrating to me personally because I think that, for one, there's issues with the roster construction with certain free agency signings, which we're going to go through all of that. But it seems like the team is, you might have the opinion that the team is performing exactly the way they should be performing based upon the construction. I'm not sure how you feel, but my feeling, because I'm pretty vocal about it, I feel the team underperformed last season. And the math showed that. The expected wins for their way they performed should have been 41 wins last season, according to
four more wins than we had.
Right. And that's a huge, 4 wins in the NBA is big.
Sure.
So in that respect, it's underperforming. And right now we're 5-6. We could easily be 6-5. And would you 5-6? Are you satisfied with that where we're at right now? Realistically, when you were before the season began and looking at it now, are you satisfied with where we're at?
Yeah, it's on.
By satisfied, you know what I mean?
Yeah, meaning it's trending toward what I thought. That I picked 38 wins, a blink away from a 500 team, and that's what we're trending toward so far this season, around a 500 team. And
would you consider that a successful campaign? If we finish 500 at the end of the season, 41-41, would you consider that a successful season for us?
I wouldn't go by the numbers on the wins. I'd go by the numbers on the players. So if I saw Quickly not shooting 39% anymore from the field like he did his first 2 seasons, I saw RJ shooting better, finishing better, shooting more consistently over the rest of the season rather than going ups and downs on his shooting. Mitch showing better from the foul line and showing some sort of an offensive game. All the different players. I'd want to see that, the rest of the East has gotten better. So a lot of the teams, so I'm not looking at the wins as much as the development. And so that's what I'm really focusing on. That do I see areas where they're handled, just different elements of their game that they're adding, that they're getting better, or if they're not, are we coming to their ceilings? So that's what I'm focused on, assessing, RJ, et cetera. How close is he to his ceiling? Is this the RJ that we're going to get used to? Is this the RJ that we signed? Or is there a few more things that he could add to his repertoire, whether efficiency, et cetera, that allow him to be a much better player? But I think what you said, my issue is the roster construction. That I think it's limiting and hindering the development of certain players because other players, for example, Randall and RJ, I just think is a bad mix.
It's interesting how that is, huh?
Well, the type of player they are, the way, the type of game that they have. It's all right if you have one guy like RJ that gets to the hole. He's an okay shooter, but he's a magnificent. He's unstoppable going to his left. Everybody knows what he's going to do, but nobody can stop it. So, but it's a different NBA. But the congestion in the paint. Everybody going under and just saying to us that we're going to pack the paint. We're not going to allow you to get in there. We're going to make you shoot. And is just showing the Achilles heel of this roster construction.
We'll get into RJ. We'll get into that type of stuff. But yeah, I think part of what might be frustrating for me specifically, I only talk about for myself. Part of the most frustrating thing for me is that to put it bluntly, I've been asking for certain things for 2 seasons now. And if they had been done, we'd be a much better team. And I think that's where the frustration, and I think the fans share that as well. Maybe they don't agree with all the things that I was saying, but whatever it is, our general feeling that we've been saying all along, let's go with the youth, man. Let's find out what we've got. If we had been doing that 2 seasons ago, who knows where we'd be? If we had started that last season, we would have so much more information. Would our players have, I mean, it's almost like a vetting process, where we find out what RJ truly is. If he didn't have to wrestle away the control of this team on New Year's Eve last year, what if it was just decided as an organization to give it to him and then construct the team around him to best thrive? If he doesn't, then you move on. Then you do trade him for Donovan Mitchell, which we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about whether, we don't have too much time, but we're going to talk about whether the Knicks made a mistake with Spida. We're going to tap on that. But first, we're talking about these the grades and all that stuff. So, which I'm loving this conversation right now. I'm loving all this this input on all this. In fact, let's go to it. Let's go check out the grades. We have done is we've gone through the. Sorry, putting this together here.
Maurice, shout out to the chat.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Yeah, let's take a moment here. Shout out to the chat. Everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm like so behind on everything. I'm just happy I was able to pull this together because I've been wanting to have a nice live stream and also chat with my guy, Foxy.
Yo, I love you too.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. And we got Lexa Destroyer out there in the chat. Thank you so much. Best mod around, holding it down. We surveyed 100 people. My guy, what's up, brother? We got the starting lineups. Actually, so we got the starting lineups. Let's do this then. In fact, sorry, before we get to that.
Oh, Cade is definitely out.
Cade is out.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. He has that shin issue, so Corey Joseph's starting in his place.
Jaden Ivey, Corey Joseph, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Isaiah Stewart. Okay, so no Cunningham. Interesting. But I think we surveyed also put the Knicks starting lineup. Did I see that? Yes, he did. Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate that. Knicks starting lineup is Jalen Brunson, Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Isaiah Hartenstein. So it's the same starting lineup. I'm glad Cam is.
No, wasn't it
starting.
Sims the last few games?
Oh, you're right. It was Sims just one game. Interesting that they didn't start Sims this game,
especially against Stewart.
Interesting,
because it's not a size. He has. He's the equivalent size of Stewart.
Yeah, I wonder what the rationale is behind it. What do you think is the thinking there, Foxy?
I think just court awareness that he has a great athletic talent, but he hasn't had enough time, Sims, so he looks like lost on certain times on the court, and I don't think you'll have that with iHeart. I think he feels stronger that iHeart understands what's going on, during the course of a game.
Okay. I hope so. I mean, he talked, Thibs talked glowingly about Sims in one of the interviews. And I agree with him. I think Sims is he showed some nice passing in the summer league.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to see a little more of it. He's a bit of an introvert, told to us by Derrick Rose, who said he was also kind of an introvert when he was younger as well, so he could relate to that. So sometimes introverts are a little passive. if they're around other more boisterous people. But I think just given time, he'll come around. He'll turn into. I think Sims is going to turn into a nice rotation player eventually in his career. He just has too much hops. That guy, that dunk, the dunk he just took off from the dotted line and just bank that last game. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah, of course, but also the foot speed for the perimeter. The game's changing, so he has that versatility on switches that some of the other guys don't.
Yeah. Shout out to C Anthony 212. Thanks for joining us. Geraldine McIver, El Cid, 90s Knicks. Oh, we got a great turnout here. Awesome. Kept Giggles. What's up, brother? Kate is out. Hartenstein starting. Interesting. RJ can't make the effing bucket. I know, man. I went into that in that last recap. I got a little heated in that last recap. I was trying to keep it kind of together. Then I was like, fuck it.
It's hard when somebody is a pro and they miss from 2 feet away. It hurts you.
Totally. All right. Well, let's get to the grades. Here we go. Now, this is the Knicks leadership grades on roster, play style, drafting, and free agency. The first grade is a Foxy grade. The second grade is a George grade. So on roster, Foxy gave them an F. I give them a C. The rationale is they're too slow, small, and selfish. There's some other stuff we'll talk about in general, but let me just recap them all, and then we'll come back to each one and discuss these. And I'd love to hear everyone else's feelings. In fact, why don't we stick with roster right now? And then everyone can drop their grades in the chat themselves. For roster, you went off and you said a lot of other, so I just put these first 3 bullets in there, or these first 3 words in there to describe it. But the roster construction, you gave them an F. And your feeling is they're slow, small, and selfish, and
shooting issues and soft. You can't have a game like yesterday or the other day against the Nets without feeling there's a little softness there, a little Charmin on this team. So, on the defense, we're seeing slow. We've talked about, you look at teams like Toronto and the way other teams are going with their long wings and stuff like that. We don't have that. Our shooting, I just feel that it's a really bad when you have Jalen Brunson, RJ Randall, right there. You have 3 slowish or non-athletic. Will be nice. Really non-athletic guys, and that's not today's NBA. And it's hurting us. And some of the plays that we're seeing, whether RJ going 1-on-3, and 7 players on this team, folks. RJ, Cam, Julius, Fournier, Obi, Ihart, Mitch. They have almost a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. It's hard to be a winning team when you have, only Brunson.
The turnovers are just fucking infuriating, man.
Oh, we're last in the league. A stat came out today that was absolutely freaking brutal. That by a long shot, we are. Sorry. Yeah, we give 1.55 points per possession after we commit a turnover. We're dead last. We're 30th in the lead by a wide margin.
And points off turnovers.
Yeah. And it's, shout out to Tom Piccolo. But so there's so many elements of the way the team is constructed that it's just very difficult. You're nowhere near championship caliber with this type of roster. On both sides of the ball, unfortunately.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to get this. I'm trying to pull that stat up because it is a great stat to have. Okay. So my thing on the roster, I give them a C. A lot for the same reasons, but I give them a C because it's resulted in a 500 roster, a 500 percentage winning roster. So it's hard for me to give them an F. I totally respect why you would give them an F, but I'm just looking at it in terms of what the actual result is.
But we used to be 37%. Now we're a 50% team.
Yeah, which is huge, but that's a big jump in the NBA. But the thing is, I see where you're coming from. Like, that might be the ceiling.
They'll never get faster. They're never going to jump higher. Right. They're never going to get more doggish. Either you're a dog or you're not. and either
Yeah,
you can shoot or you can't.
totally. Let me see. Points off turnovers. I'm trying to find this. Here it is. Points off turnovers. Oh no, it's opponent's point. Yeah, points off turnover. Opponent's points off turnovers. Knicks are 25th in the NBA. We've given up 20.4 points per turn in total per game. That's
Yeah,
a lot of points in turnovers.
yeah, but it also
20?
it's brutal, but it also illustrates our transition defense. So we don't have on-ball defense, we don't have transition defense, we don't have recovery defense. You know, all the different aspects that you have in a game
We're
of the types of
26th,
teams.
26th in fast break points for opponents. Opponents points and fast breaks. We're 26th. Opponents second chance points. We are 28th.
Brutal. Just meeting the amount of times throughout since the first game where we're saying, Jesus, man, can't we
But we're
grab a
protecting that paint.
rebound?
We're protecting that paint. We're fifth in opponents in the fewest opponent points in the paint with 44.9, about 45 points per game. We're fifth. So in that respect, we're doing that well. But is that worth the trade-off?
Well, we have it's an anomaly right now. We're second in on defense and field goal percentage, approximately, I believe, last time I checked. We were sixth in 2-point percentage, and we were 13th in 3-point percentage, but we were 21st in points allowed at 114.7. So we're basically giving up over 2 points more a game. We score 112 points and we give up 114 points. That's not good, folks.
Not good. Not good at all. We are, in terms of net rating, we are now dropped to minus 2.7 for 22nd in the NBA. Defensive rating for a Tom Thibodeau team, we are now 19th. We're at 111.8. And offensive rating, we are now 23rd, 109.1. So we have dropped below the middle, even though the record is closer to the middle. Our actual performance stats indicate that the team is going in the wrong direction. So that's troublesome. So yeah, that's why I give them a C because, but I think we can get. I think there are some promising things on this roster. The problem is that certain people have to start delivering. I've had faith in Obi all this time, and he's finally starting to pay off and deliver on that. I've had faith in IQ as well. Defensively, he's definitely come through on that. Offensively, he has not. He's struggling with his shot. There was an article came out today. It was saying he has amnesia, which is great. He's supposed to, but at the same time, you got to make a bucket, buddy. I mean, if you have an open look,
IQ has amnesia.
well, that's the way great shooters have to be. I mean,
Yeah, no doubt. But we wish we had amnesia because you're shooting like 33% field goal and like 25% from three. So I wish we had amnesia too.
I wish we did too, man. It's painful. It's painful. But I wanted to pull up these stats on. I think the problem is the type of shots that here's what and I said this before. IQ and these numbers I'm going to give you don't include Wednesday's game against the who did play Wednesday?
The Nets.
The Nets. IQ's pull up 3-point shooting is 21.1% on 1.7 attempts. Pull up 3-point shooting. So off the dribble and pull up shooting, it's 21.1%. It's atrocious.
He's a catch and shoot guy, man.
Yes, but he'd been trying to develop that the pull up game. His catch and shoot 3-pointers. You're talking about that? He's at 39%.
Which, yeah, that's good.
But he doesn't get enough catch and shoot ones. No one's setting him up. No one's.
Thank you. I was about to say that's a scheme when you do that. That you break down, especially with a D Rose or something out. You kick it out for that beautiful because your form. You can straighten up. You get your shooting mechanics and hit that catch and shoot. Like you said, he's doing it off the dribble, so his body is out of sync.
Yeah. They have to get him going. They have to run. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see if they address this tonight because it's pretty obvious. It's stark when you look at the numbers that having quickly just come up or whatever. A lot of times, because he's the guard, and if the offense breaks down and nothing really develops, he has to be the one. He's the chucker at the end, the shot clock chucker. So that does hurt your 3-point shooting, your shooting overall. And I've noticed that like there's a higher percentage of those shots actually end up with either IQ or RJ, depending who's on the court. For some reason, they're the ones that the ball normally ends up with at the end of those possessions that are broken down. So that hurts them. However, they're not running plays for IQ. They're not running some nice pin downs that free him up, get him out clean, have a clean look at the 3-point line. That's what we need to see from this team, and that is coaching. That is play running, and it's hurting him. But in terms of that, yeah, the roster right now is flawed, obviously, but it's a 500-ish roster, so we have to kind of take that for what it is. A lot of what we've just been talking about is the play style. You give them an F, I give them a C. I give them a C because I've seen there were some great moments. There's been some nice moments this season, Foxy, where we've seen not a lack of ball and player movement. We've actually seen ball movement. We've seen player movement. I mean, that first quarter that we saw against that was on Monday. That first quarter was tremendous. The ball was moving around. Was it Monday? Yeah, it was. And then of course they go away from that. But
too much ISO.
Too much ISO. You give them an F. What's your take on
just meaning lack it, and it goes back to the coach, like you said, lack of innovation. We it becomes a 2-man game, whether it's Fournier and Randall or others, and other guys are like standing around. I feel so badly for Brunson. I think his stats and people are coming down on Brunson, and I'm like, you're killing this guy. You're not giving him the spacing. He doesn't have the shooters around him, nor does he have the IQ. I see players literally breaking their rotation, and it's throwing him off, Jalen Brunson. So I'm watching the game 2-3 times, and I'm taking notes, and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad for this guy. But that doesn't show up in the box score, and people just say, man, Brunson's not what I expected. Nah, he's a really solid guy. But
he is. I mean, we look at his stats. He's having a pretty decent year.
But he'd have an even better year if they didn't allow, they're killing him. And we don't have, they're running zones, so he's not able, he's a mid-range assassin. That's where he is, but he can't get in there if it's all packed. So they're making him go there, and there's nobody else that are keeping him honest. So that element of it, we don't see any cutting. So you would think with a guy like Cam Reddish, that's his specialty. You want him to cut and, use the way he, gets the basket as not just in transition, but, it just drives me crazy. You see iHeart in preseason and stuff like, you're like, this guy really sees the floor. How is he only averaging 1 assist a game?
I don't know. That's dropped off tremendously for him.
Because they're not running. You do what you do in practice. And it's like, why aren't you doing backdoors and stuff like that? And, and it keeps them honest. Even if it doesn't open up, but they're moving. You have that constant movement and somebody will open up. You just don't see that. So it just bothers me again. And a lot of this is on Thibs in the front office, that they just don't have innovation for their, you can't, on the Boston game, you can't shoot 27 threes against a team that made 27 threes. It's a math thing. It just doesn't work out. Nor can you have, guys like Randall go off on threes and then take only 1 shot in the second half. That's like sabotaging the way you can win. If that's supposed to be one of your top players, who the hell's pulling him? Like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So to me, what I'm hearing is, and it's kind of like where my position on it is, that they're leaning into the wrong area on this team. The ball should more often be in either Brunson's hands, RJ's hands. We're talking about the starting unit. Brunson's hands, RJ's hands, or Cam's hands, not Randall's. Randall has proven to us throughout his career, except for that 1 year, that he is not a playmaker. He may still average 4 assists, which is great. And that's just because the ball is more often in his hands. But he is not a playmaker because the amount of turnovers he causes, or the box score turnovers. They're so high, it just kills momentum. It kills flow. You're not letting guys at least get a shot up if you're causing turnovers. And it delays progress. And leaning in, like giving Randall the ball on the weak side and letting him do his magic, it's just idiotic. I mean, how often do we have to see this fail to finally realize, let's not do that. Let's get the ball back into RJ's hands, back into and get it into Cam's hands. Not back. Thanks, Lex, for I got some weird messages there. So that's a flaw in the play style, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm gonna push back a little bit on Brunson in terms of the play style, and maybe this is just a small sample size situation. Maybe this will change, and I hope it does. But Brunson right now, Jalen Brunson is statistically, he's having a pretty decent season. He's averaging 19.2 points per game, which is almost 20 points, which is nice. 48.8% field goal percentage, almost 49%. He's almost a 50% guy from the field. He's shooting 82.6% from the free throw line. That's great. So but the one area that he's really been hurting, he's shooting 29.5% from the 3-point line. Can't have that. And this was my concern for him in general. I know throughout his career, he's had a decent 3-point percentage, but it all comes, it was at a very low volume. And it was mostly he was feeding off of Luka a lot of times on that Dallas team. High volume 3-point shooting is very, very important to win in the NBA from your point guard spot. You need a high volume 3-point shooter to consistently win in the NBA. That is, you can write it down. That's just the facts of the NBA today. Reason the Kings don't win is because Fox is not a high volume 3-point shooter. He's great at a lot of things, and I love his game. And same thing with SGA, even though I love him too. There's games that he scored. It was a game where they won the game. He scored like 36 points, 31 points, or whatever. He didn't take one 3-point shot. They did win that game, but you're just not overtime going to. I've already explained. It's just math. It's just time. There's a time constraint. If you put up a shot, and the other team's putting up the same another shot, but that shot has a 50% greater expected value than yours, and you hit them equally, you're going to lose. It's just the facts.
Yeah, people don't realize, like you said, it's math. A 33% 3-point shooter is just as valuable as a 50% 2-point shooter.
Bingo. So those are issues. So his 3-point shooting has got to get up. And a lot of it is, I'm starting to see a little too much dribble from Brunson. And the difference is when he does it, he has a 50% success rate, which is great. The problem is there's another guy on the court, Randall, who sees that. He's like, well, no, now it's my turn to do that. And then, RJ, I will say, has been good at resisting that, but he has the propensity to do it as well. And we also know Cam has the propensity to do it as well. And that's the selfishness. That's why it's up there. It's not selfishness as in like mean, or like, it's habits. They default into these bad habits. And Brunson is setting that tone when he dribbles too much, especially if he doesn't actually deliver with a bucket at the end of it, which we saw a lot of that recently. So he's got to bring up that 3-point shooting. But the play style of that starting unit only works when you remove the word lack on this and just say ball movement, player movement, share the ball, move that rock, keep looking for the best shot possible, and make those decisions early. Maybe 1-2 dribbles, you should already know what can happen. You're professionals. This is your job. You should have an ability to anticipate what's going to happen in front of you after 2 dribbles. You should know.
Well, they were practicing in practice of having getting this shot up in an X amount of time.
Exactly. So
it's not translating though.
Now that's fixable though.
Yep.
They have enough talent on this team to fix that and have a good offense. In fact, they've had a decent offense this year at times. It just ends up kind of falling apart. But it's more the defense is the issue, but we'll get to that. All right, so there, play style. Let's see what the check in with the chat here. Play style. I didn't really announce what for them to drop their grades, but let's see. I see an F grade for people are agreeing with us on the roster and stuff. Mostly you, they're agreeing.
Hi, Janine. Just wanted to shout out my friend Janine.
What's up, Janine? Svi has been fun to watch when he comes in garbage time. That guy can shoot.
Man, can he shoot? And I'm like saying, once you give him a chance, if you're badly in need and nobody's hitting, let him get a chance.
Been sitting around for hours. The whole game comes in, first shot, swish.
Yeah,
guys, a 3-point bucket.
Damn, it's 7:31 already.
7:31. Our game's gonna start. All right, let's go. Drafting. You give them an F. I give them a B plus. I think considering what they actually drafted, I thought they did well with what they drafted. Could they have done better in terms of like where you're saying move up for Mathurin, Sharp, or then trade down? Maybe a Terry Eason would be nice to have on this roster. I think they made a huge mistake in drafting out and trading out of this draft that we just had.
And especially taking Trevor Keels when you could add Ryan Rollins and a few other people, Jabari Walker, that could have gave us 3-point shooting and length at the 3 position. So yeah, I have a major issue with, and it goes for a couple of years now. It's not just last year, but getting Grimes at 25, getting quickly, getting Deuce and everything. They're good players, but they're not going to change anything. They're good transitional players or good second team players, but Jesus, man, you got to get some of those players. Like everyone was saying, Ivy. You could have had another strategy. Like that's too much. Let's go for Mathurin. Let's go for Sharp. So
we were crying out for an athletic boost through the draft, and we didn't get it.
Yeah,
I think it's a major mistake. We can build a whole video out of that whole one section. We have a nice treat for you at the end if you guys hang in. We're going to tease the upcoming draft really quickly. Let's just jump down to free agency. We both give them C's. You think we overpaid for Mitch?
I think $12 million. No, we should have gave him the same contract that Robert Williams got.
Yeah, that's probably not. I don't have that big a problem with it, but yeah, it is an overpay. But I think the free agency blunders were in 2021. Kemba and Fournier.
Brutal.
Yeah. Come on. I think it really hurt us. It really set us back.
Re-signing Noel,
Yeah. So they've had to kind of get out from under all of that, and that's kind of hurt us with this season as well. Yeah, that's been a problem. All right, let's get to this thing. Did they make a mistake with Spida? Bondi put out this article today. He tweeted this out: failure to land Donovan Mitchell, trending toward Knicks disaster. And then NBA Central tweeted this out. Donovan Mitchell thought he was going to get traded to the Knicks for RJ Barrett. I was told it was RJ and hella picks. That's what I heard, and I thought that was happening. I thought that was it. Woo! It does hurt a little bit. Donovan's having a tremendous season. He's leveled up, having his best season of the year. He spent the summer looking at himself, looking at his own actions, and he wanted to become a better player no matter what ended up happening. He did all the right things, and it's being rewarded now. He's with Cleveland. They have a very nice roster. I like their play style. And then they got Donovan. They're making it work for now. We'll see how long it continues to work. The major mistake from my point of view on this is that Donovan's age, 25, to get someone like him at that age,
and with a great contract too.
Yeah, and a good great contract. It would have cost us RJ and hella picks, but if it would have cost us RJ, Grimes, and Obi, plus a ton of picks, we wouldn't have the same result, obviously, that Cleveland's having with Donovan on their roster. So that would be. It's not like he comes here and we're 8-3.
Well, again, it goes to a front office from a strategy standpoint. If you really wanted a Donovan, you shouldn't have signed Jalen. Because hey, we've seen Jalen, we like Jalen, but we're also really being cool. We've seen Jalen at the point of attack. There's no defense.
But we had already signed Jalen by that point.
No, I know that, but just meaning at that point, they should have said to themselves, you know what? We're going to get Donovan, even if we have to pay the tax. You can't have Jalen and Donovan in a backcourt. That was a recipe for a disaster. So if Donovan was the guy, then pay the tax. We just saw it a couple days ago. The level of Donovan versus RJ, it's like 5 galaxies away. He's just at a much different level that RJ will never get to. So it was worth giving up. Obi is, looking at drafts and stuff. Obi's replaceable. Grimes is replaceable. RJ, to get one guy like that and then team him up with a bigger two, and go from, meaning that if we got Donovan, we could go from there. But having that one elite player, star player that, and he's also, like you said, doing steals. He has almost 2 steals a game. So,
his playmaking, his passing has been
outstanding.
Yeah,
outstanding.
His passing made a huge leap.
And especially when Garland went out, he took that upon him. So, and he wants to be great. Some of the things that bothers me again is you want to have players who want to be great. And RJ,
well, that's one thing they share. RJ wants to be great. He definitely wants to be great. There's no doubt. And Randall wants to be great. It's understanding how to be is a whole different story. And having the ability to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Right now, it looks bad. RJ's struggling, though his shot is coming around. He's definitely done better. He's averaging 19.3 points per game, 42.5% field goal percentage, 30.6 3-point percentage, which is a huge leap from where he the first 5 games were, atrocious. Let's see, in the last 5 games, he's averaging 40% from the 3-point line. So
looks smooth. Got back that.
But so is
preseason.
Randall's averaging 43.2% from the 3-point line.
I know, but it kills the other guys. That's not something that's sustainable. So, but do you want him taking 8 or more threes a game?
No,
it's not really
that's
his
what
game.
He's taking. He's averaging. That's on 7.4.
Yeah.
When you look at the last 6 games, RJ is leading the team with 44.1% from the 3-point line. Second is Randall with 40%. Third is Fournier, 36.8%. And then Cam is down to 33%. No, that's it. 30% Cam, Obi, and Grimes are all 30. Well, I don't know why Grimes is in here. And Jalen Brunson's 21.7% from the 3-point line the last 6 games. It's atrocious. But I will say this. I think that if the trade, because we still don't know what the Jazz actually did want. Everyone's speculating. No one knows for sure. And a lot of it is because Leon doesn't talk. But if it was RJ plus Grimes plus Obi, 3 and 5 draft picks, that's a lot. This team would not have much to work with afterwards. We would be our team would be Mitch, Brunson, and Randall for the foreseeable future. And I love Mitch. I love Donovan Mitchell, but that's not an exciting team for me.
Any team with Randall is not exciting for me.
Exactly. We're stuck with him. And so then he would have to perform well, and the team would have to make the smart move to move on from him. But that's still the situation.
If we had a different coach that said, you know what we said earlier, it's that Randall and RJ just don't mix. I'm sorry. Hey, you get your money, Randall, but you're playing second team. We'll put Obi on the first team because he's going to complement his style. RJ will play better with Obi than he will with Randall, and let Randall play on the second team.
Yeah.
But then we won't do that.
Nope. So the Spider deal is if the deal was like RJ I just don't. I just giving up Obi in that deal. Just, I mean, we just don't have. We weren't the Cavs. The Cavs gave up Sexton, Markkanen, and their first round draft pick of last season, Ochai Agbaji, which we didn't have one because we traded out. But they get those are the three players. None of those were key players in their rotation. Markkanen, but he was like the small forward, whatever he's got. I mean, they got Donovan in place of him. Markkanen's having a great season.
I was about to say, but you're seeing the Ainge from a talent evaluation saying if he can stay healthy, his upside is huge.
Yeah, and it's been great. We'll see how it continues. He's having a great season. Look what Randall did. He had a tremendous season 2 seasons ago. Can he replicate it? Here it's about being able to replicate it every night in, night out. Those are what the great ones do. Markkanen's had a nice start to the season. I don't have tremendous faith that it's going to continue. We'll see. If it does, good for him. But either way, like they could trade those guys. My point is they could give up that kind of quality and it not hurt their roster. We give up that kind of quality, we're gutted. We've got nothing. And that's because of the situation that the franchise has put us in, the leadership of the franchise has put us in, and the way that they approached the youth development on this team. They suppressed it for so long, so you couldn't get the true value for your players. Obi, in my opinion, is a bona fide top 10 power forward in this league if he started. I think he's better than Randall. He's a better player than Randall. He gets the shots easier than Randall. He doesn't stop an offense, and his defense has gotten better. It's only going to keep getting better. He has a great attitude. People want to play with him. I want to see him play. The NBA wants to see him on highlight reels. Who wants to watch Randall play?
The opposing team.
There we go. We're going to end on that. Beautiful. All right, Knicks versus Pistons are about to start. Here they are. Cade is not playing. He's their leading scorer, 19.9 points. Randall is leading the Knicks with 20.5. He's also leading the Knicks with rebounds down to 6.7, which is low for him. He's been averaging about 10 the past 2 seasons. The assists, Knicks, Jalen Brunson is averaging 6.8, almost 7 assists per game. Cade is averaging 6. This game, do it quick. Art, I mean, we've got to win this game, obviously. Foxy.
They're terrible on both sides of the ball, meaning it's going to say after the loss to the Nets, we should come out wanting from a vendetta plan to show on our home court that we're going to wipe the floor with them. But for 4 quarters, not come out, beat them in the first, and then the second half, have the third quarter, doldrums again.
Yeah. Oh, I got to show this. This is the thing. This is the thing. We missed out on Donovan Mitchell by not drafting him. That's where we missed out on him. It's painful. And we missed out on Devin Vassell, Mikal Bridges,
Halliburton,
Michael Porter Jr. My son and I were like, let's get MPJ.
I wouldn't have done it only because I was about to say I never draft somebody with a bad back because it never gets better. They always come back.
Look at him now. He's probably the best shooter.
He's splendid. Look, if the back issues don't flare up.
Michael Porter Jr. will one day very soon be the best shooter in the NBA.
He has all the skill. It's just the back.
He would be a 6'10" Steph Curry, not Steph Curry's level, because Steph Curry at 6'10" is Kevin Durant basically. But I mean, once those guys kind of like fade down a little bit, Michael Porter Jr., that guy can shoot. Get a shot off any night, anytime he wants. It's tremendous. But yeah, we screwed up. We've screwed up on drafting. It's hurt us. It's put us in this position, which is why I think the franchise is so afraid to make the moves that they need to make, to make that next leap. Obviously, that's what it showed. Their unwillingness to take a gamble on Donovan Mitchell is because they knew that Ross would be gutted and we'd be stuck with Randall. And they made the mistake, not a mistake, but they made the mistake of trading out of the draft to try and to clear up space to sign Brunson, which is technically they didn't have to do that to sign Brunson. That's the story that's being put out there. Oh, that's why we did that. We didn't have to. And we would have another interesting AJ Griffin, Terry Eason. If we had traded up for Mathurin, that would have been tremendous. I would have rather have thrown some picks and some players or whatever at the Pacers for that 6th pick and grabbed Mathurin.
You know, I loved him for a long time, so you're preaching to the choir.
All right, we're going to show you something for those that have stuck around. Little treat, little teaser. We're going to have a whole other longer video about this. This is Foxy's. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't put your.
No worries. The game.
So that's an even bigger teaser.
No worries. We'll get them on the next time the game's starting. But you know what, folks? The college game's going full. So George and I will be having a lot of great draft shows coming your way. I promise.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a good draft. We've got 3 picks right now. Right now, we'd pick 14th and
18th and 19th.
14th, 18th, 19th.
Which is purgatory.
Yeah, that is purgatory. Which is why, I mean, we can go on and on about that. All right, the game has started. It's 3-2. Pistons are already up on the Knicks, but I expect the Knicks to win this game. But it's a matter of how they win this game. If they lose, it's a whole other thing. I'll be on here in the recap and just with a blowtorch. If they win, it won't be. It will just winning won't be good enough. They have to win in a certain style of play. They have to dominate. Number one, dominate on both sides of the ball. They have to communicate to each other on the defensive end. They have to trust each other on the offensive end. They have to keep the ball moving. They can't be selfish. Those are the things that I want to see. And on Thibodeau's end, don't wait until 3 minutes left in a quarter to start making your substitutions if things aren't going well. Respond to what you're seeing on the floor. Don't have too much faith in these guys. Oh, they're going to pull themselves out of it. Fuck that. We're way past that. Now it's time to put the best construction of players on the court that can win. That's what your job is now, Thibs. All right, I know you're playing, so I'm just talking to the wind.
You nailed it, man. So got to put our foot on their throat and take them out of their misery early, and not let up. And I'm worried about. There's always one person, and tonight the person on my mind is Isaiah Livers.
This is it. This is beautiful. Play like a team, not individuals. Beautiful. Thank you, Francisco Carrillo.
Yeah, Francisco, that is poetry. That is the
great
essence.
Way to end it. Great way to end it. Great way to end it. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. It's been great. Thank you, Foxy.
I love you and love the chat and the Knicks fandom. Go Knicks.
Go Knicks.
We should win tonight, so I'm thinking real positive, folks.
Me too. But like we just said, they have to win in a certain way, and I expect them to. And I'll be doing Sunday. It'll be interesting. I'll definitely be doing the recaps no matter what. But we'll see about Sunday pregame.
Sunday's a noon game.
It's a noon game. Are you guys doing the Sunday stream?
Yeah, at 6:15.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's going to do a pregame, before the noon game, but
all right,
we're doing the 6:15. Yeah,
I'll talk to Foxy about that.
Keys.
Keys.
He's my brother.
Yeah, they're brothers. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Again, subscribe to Knicks-Verse, subscribe to Sports Vibes TV, follow Foxy, follow Keys, follow me, and thank you guys for joining us. It's been awesome. And we will see you around the Knicks.